Borno State in northeastern Nigeria. Damaged by COVID, lack of development, and most recently, massive flooding. Even worse has been the decades of conflict caused by the Boko Haram. But one young woman has stood up to the state's challenges. Kalthum Mohammad Rabiu may be small, but she is a big hero here, working for the safety of her community as a skilled negotiator and a champion of peace. Maiduguri suffers its latest crisis. Borno State in northeastern Nigeria doesn't usually see this much rain, but a torrent caused the Alau Dam to overflow, killing about 40 people and causing many to sleep on the streets for weeks. 400,000 people displaced, 1 million affected, losing possessions, their basic necessities, often their livelihoods. When Maiduguri is in crisis, the Kalthum Peace Foundation will come to aid. This time, they have set up a temporary health clinic at a local university, providing vital medical care to those in need. Diseases breed in wet and unsanitary conditions: malaria, diarrhea, and the dreaded cholera.
She didn't get enough food to eat. That's the reason why the babies looks like weak babies.
The most serious cases end up in hospitals that are still intact, but Kalthum and her team take care of the majority of those who seek their help. Kalthum's foundation, however, was not founded as an emergency response group, but because of an insurgent movement that got out of control, terrorizing her community and later the entire country. From 2002, the Yusufia, or Boko Haram as dubbed by the mainstream media, showed promise as reformers.
They started as a result of some sort of Protestant movement, a sort of protestation against the political establishment due to the unfortunate circumstances of socio-economic activities that the people find themselves in. They presented themselves as champions that are bent on fighting corrupt leadership to change, to improve the welfare and the life of the people.
These on tape, cassettes in those days, and then into, I think, CDs, and they were being sold all over the place. You could go to a motor park in Kano, and you would hear him speaking, over the loudspeakers. His message resonated.
But it was not long before the group showed its teeth.
1, they had their cell. 2, they have their military. 3, they have their prison warden. 4, they have their own police. They had early morning exercises amongst themselves. The residents in Maiduguri were warning the government. These people have an inkling for themselves. They had a sort of caricature of a state. They started assassinating the traditional leaders that had named them to the security forces for them to be arrested. They were assassinated one by one.
The Yusufia movement finally moved into the Boko Haram insurgency after the death of their founder in Nigerian military custody. For the next 5 years, the Boko Haram waged a war of vengeance. Thousands were killed, nearly 1 million displaced. Eventually, having witnessed enough tragedy, Kalthum Mohammad Rabiu would decide to take a side. It would be a decision that would shape the next decade of her life. The Boko Haram turned Borno State into a killing field after 2009. The Nigerian military set up a joint task force with civilians and coordinated some of their efforts with neighboring countries. The Boko Haram responded by heading to the bush.
They went back into their shell and they devised a means or approach, a different approach, which is just more like a guerrilla fight. They pick on their target, they trail their target, and they kill the target.
There, they set up camps, recruited, indoctrinated new members with their ideology.
Immediately, the first day they pick someone, they will start preaching to that person, either a Muslim or a Christian. Sometimes when they abduct Muslims, they punish Muslims more than Christians. They said that Muslims are aware of everything. They know everything, but they just don't want to follow the truth.
There have been thousands of kidnapped victims. They were kept in the middle of nowhere. Men turned into fighters, women their brides. Kalthum's childhood friend remembers vividly how she came close to being snatched when she was a young girl.
They happened to attack a neighboring community, so that has affected my residence. So they came in the midnight. Since then, the trauma of sleeping with one eye closed and one eye open has been affecting me.
Heavily armed Islamist gunmen have kidnapped more than 200 girls in a raid on a government secondary school in Nigeria's northeast Borno State.
In 2014, the insurgents kidnapped 276 schoolgirls in the town of Chibok, and international attention was finally drawn to the boiling situation.
So these were the girls in the last year of high school. They were there because they had exams. The boys were home because they didn't have enough hostel facilities for everyone. So basically, there was no one to protect those girls.
They targeted that to send a message to now have a kind of bargain with the government. And another thing is to embarrass the government at that time.
57 of the girls luckily escaped the same night of abduction.
When they parked and realized there was no room for the rest, they told them to walk behind the vehicle. And so some of the girls managed to escape at that point. And then because the vehicles were also driving really slowly, some of the girls could jump off. So the 57 thereabout that escaped throughout that night, they were the ones who were either walking behind the vehicle or managed to jump out.
Others would be kept by Boko Haram for years.
Why was it the Chibok girls are so prominent? It was prominent because those who wanted to use religion to create discord between the Muslims and the Christians were the ones that were amplifying the hatred amongst the Muslims and the Christians.
By 2017, a young woman decided to take a stand.
1st February 2017, we had a peace mega rally, the biggest one. All the people are from the northeastern part region. So they came over 6,000 people were there.
That was the beginning. A few months after the rally, Kalthum started her own peace foundation. She had just turned 24.
She was very, very young, and
Most people did not trust her to handle this, and they were skeptical that she could handle these activities, but she surprised everyone.
She wrote many letters to the Boko Haram trying to start a dialogue. Finally, her persistence paid off. The insurgents agreed to meet with her. Even today, she can still recall every detail of that meeting.
We went and met them, had some discussions. They said, "We don't know you. For the first time, we will not trust you. If you mess up, we know where you are. We will deal with you. We will go and pick you wherever you are." I said, "Okay, no problem." They said, "Okay, what do I want?" And I explained again. They said, "Okay, we will go back and talk to our leaders and then see the way forward." I said, "Okay." Next time we met, they said, "You are a trustworthy person. You did not talk rubbish about our ideology nor us ourselves, so we can continue communicating with you."
We don't know what is the constitution.
They are friendly. They are friendly. Because I even asked them to have, I want to have some pictures with them. The first time they said, then some of them, they laughed and then smiled. They said, "Not now, don't worry. Not now, maybe next time."
Before she left, they interviewed her and exchanged ideas. The insurgents explained they were upset with international NGOs whom they believe were promoting ideas against their culture, such as abortion.
Later on, I went into the vehicle, and then I was about to move. They said I should wait. I waited for 30 minutes. I even got scared. I was thinking maybe they would change their mind and then said, "Okay, we are going with you."
As it turned out, the insurgents were inspecting the route to make sure no security service had tailed her. After the brief meeting, Kalthum was released. That meeting built a sense of trust that later led her becoming a primary civilian negotiator with the Boko Haram.
Whenever you see me intervene in this kind of matters, it's when the family come to me and asking for assistance.
After the first handshake, negotiations started for the abductees to be released. The insurgents would send her videos as proof of life.
They kidnapped her in Chad. The proof of life comes from either on the flash or on the card. Is it memory card? Or sometimes if it's emergency, I need it urgently, then sometimes I would get it on the phone. Yes, they were released.
Then she had to find out what the insurgents want: food, supplies, cash. It was her job to convince them that the abductees are more valuable alive than dead.
Sometimes they ask for ihsan. They call it ihsan, something in return that they will release that person, but something would be given to them. Sometimes they'll say, "Okay, we would need maybe foodstuffs, or we would need cash," and it doesn't happen. We would keep on dragging and dragging and dragging. So they would make an agreement. "Okay, if it's a medical practitioner, you will train our people for 6 months, 3 months, 1 year. We will release you."
So when they saw that abduction of people, especially expatriates and key elements that they know they could get money, and they use that money to fund their activities.
So look at the boys standing behind her, pointing guns at her.
Negotiations can take weeks, even months. Mostly, she convinces the kidnappers to free the prisoners, but not always.
He was killed by the groups. They killed him. It was very bad. And also this guy also, it didn't went well. And this man is a politician.
Over the years, Kalthum went back to the bush dozens of times. She helped free over 100 people.
The time that some guns were placed on my head, and yes, I was scared. I had to close my eyes and I pulled my hands up and several times, and sometimes well, a lot of things happen in the process, so there are risks.
Ba abinci kuma ina gudun abincin da.
Kalthum was adopted by a wealthy Maiduguri businessman at a very young age. Her 86-year-old father brought Kalthum up to be religious, but also aspire to great achievements. He had supported her foundation financially and his daughter with advice.
Sometimes I get worried. Sometimes I get worried. But if I talk to her, then I realize that she could handle it. Yes, I realize she could handle it. So there is no much problem. I'm not so much worried now. But when she started, I was really worried about her safety. I congratulate Kalthum very well. I know she would be what she is. I know from the very beginning that she will be what she is. I know Kalthum, she can reach any high.
Many of those Kalthum has helped free visit her office in Maiduguri once in a while to assist in any way they can. Al-Baka was coming home from a family wedding in 2021 when he was taken.
Between Buratai and Kamuya is a dangerous spot. If you see anybody in military uniform, they are kidnappers, so don't stop. So just not more than 5 minutes, we just saw 2 people gone. So my brother started meandering, but they shot at us. So I was trying to run away into the bush. Then the first hillocks zoomed to me and picked me. And they said the women, they should go. So 4 of us were adopted.
They were held for 5 months, changing location once.
My young ones, my daughters, I miss them. At the beginning, you know, every night from 7 to 8, that Islamic teacher will come and start teaching them. So at that time, when it comes, then I'll start thinking of my sister, my daughters.
His wife, Jumwe, was waiting at home for his return. They got word of the kidnapping.
We started praying to God that they should have to be released on time. As we have been doing, then somebody just said we have to come to this foundation. Maybe she will have, because this foundation is for peace, and then she will maybe talk to them.
In the Boko Haram camp, the captives received information that someone was bargaining for their release.
We heard about this woman, Kalthum. She's very popular there. So people were telling me, don't worry, there is one woman that she's Kalthum Foundation for Peace. She was the one that is negotiating. That statement has given us courage.
He and his brothers were informed that they would be released the next day. Those they were leaving behind, another 20 prisoners, wept with joy and regret.
I was thinking that when we came out, I was expecting to see a huge woman that will rescue me. Just I see a small girl that is going, what is it? I just saw Kalthum.
Time to time, between her daily work with the foundation and helping individual abductees, Kalthum thinks about the Chibok girls.
They took all the Chibok girls, became their own properties. So then I spoke to them that if they could release the girls. I said, why am I talking like that? Don't I know that some of them have gotten married? They are someone's wives. Why would I be talking like that?
When Boko Haram's leader, Abu Bakr Shekau, was killed in 2021, the girls were transferred to another group. Many of the kidnapped girls were eventually married to their captors.
Chibok girls are still there, some of them, but few of them have came out recently, not long ago. Some of them, the military rescued them, and some are among those that are surrendering. So they came out among them, but with children, and some children and are pregnant. Sometimes when survivors comes out, I ask them questions. Have you seen Leah Sharibu, the Dapchi girl that got kidnapped by these groups? Some will say, yes, we stayed at one place with her. She was with us. She's a nice girl. She used to visit our place.
The Boko Haram has been severely degraded in recent years, in part because of their own actions.
Boko Haram began to target people praying in mosques. You claim that you are waging a jihad. How do you target fellow Muslims who are praying? And honestly, that was the point where a lot of people began to take a pause and say, what really is this group about? If they are not fighting for Muslim rights, who are they fighting for? Certainly it isn't us.
Who suffer the brunt of Boko Haram atrocities? When you have 100 casualties, 99 are Muslims. What are they promoting? What are you preaching? Which of the Islamic injunctions tell you to do what you are doing? Which of the quotations of the Holy Quran justify what they are doing? So it's not an ideology. They are reduced to bandits, armed bandits that bend on attacking soft targets.
While Boko Haram was splintered into fractions, fighters want to go back to society. A former Boko Haram commander agreed to talk to us. He had asked to be called Ahmed.
Do kasan duso dina monofansi be yawa sai monofansa daban be monofan daban adayin isa iska sayar da fale yake baka tatta gaima kun barin ne har yake kaza da kai to wallo har yake kaza da don kai sande alama soja ma captain ne da yin karra don ganan dia ya fito yin kam alama duin diso adin be soja kama anzade hey soja zalama kam duniyar ruwan be parte.
Ahmed does not want his identity revealed, both to protect him from Boko Haram and from those in Maiduguri who might be angry about his cooperation with the insurgents.
Waya di alama sala reta so ide shiro ko kolne aretin da umar galinda laman kara yara ismiya iskenya goyin yo are di waya kam yana dai sirin awanayin so mamayin so kramiyanyin so biya yalla fande so kurit panyin dubsa uma sai ya mincika tuluke motonyin waldike sai ro kuma moto yake yarwa har tayaro kasha wu leno bayin jenyin do har isa madagal chaide he dinayim subda suwa Samo na direct chairman awa Dulibladia and the Panyin Ozana.
While he was disregarded initially, some of the insurgents recognized him.
Awa kasan tusana ne kaloche halzano wana halin Ozana. Seido in komanda na de rikana. Aren kun barin kurbarin haris katendero yarragao arada isorolo. amma kawdo yin isa kare ndoro yarragawo har kaza da lawora sarin suare awangu dena kuruba utagana kin zero diko are dalilo awayar da suduna.
He doesn't want to say whether he killed anyone, asserting that in attacks they fired from so far away they couldn't see the results. Eventually, he escaped. Like many other abductee-turned-insurgents, he tried to leave that part of his life behind and start over. Not everyone is pleased with the situation.
Not everyone within the city is happy that there is this process of absorbing the surrenderies within the society.
For Kalthum, the real enemy is not the ex-fighters, it's the extremism ideologies. Her next goal? To prevent it from coming back.
We trained 10 women associations for them to go around those IDP camps, to create awareness to those people, how to live in harmony. Women also have critical roles to play. The beginning of the insurgency, had it been women like us came into peace building and conflict management, the conflict will not escalate. It will not escalate. So women would have talked to women. Mothers would have talked to mothers. These insurgent groups, they have wives, they have children, they have sisters, they have mothers. At least we as women, had it been we played critical roles at the beginning, it will have not come to this extent. Vengeance cannot cure anything unless it will just add more problems.